Vietnam's tourism sector faces a seismic shift as a $38 billion market valuation triggers aggressive global hotel brand competition. To discuss the future of the region's hospitality, we are joined by Michael Piro of Indochina Capital Corporation. So, Michael, what structural forces are driving Vietnam's tourism growth today? Let's start with this.
Well, when we look at Vietnam today, I think the key factors driving the growth are one, are liberalized visa policies. For quite some time, Vietnam was viewed as a difficult um, point of entry. From a visa perspective, the government has done a spectacular job at liberalizing visa policies, a number of visa-free policies for several countries. Same day or on arrival visas are now available. So I think access is always critical when you look at the growth of tourism in any country, and Vietnam is no exception. I think the other area that has really caused a shift is infrastructure. So a number of airports have been upgraded, new flight routes, et cetera, have allowed the traffic to increase quite dramatically. And quite frankly, even at this point, we're pretty much reaching capacity. And for the next wave to develop, we're really going to need to focus on continued infrastructure growth. The other area I think is political stability. Vietnam is viewed as an incredibly safe place. Vietnam has managed to maintain a very neutral policy in the midst of conflict in the world and in some cases in the region. So I think we've been able to pick up a lot of business from our surrounding Southeast Asian neighbors that have been involved in some conflicts. We're also seeing on the supply side a significant investment in high quality, not just hotels, golf courses, tourist attractions, bridges, events, firework festivals, Ironman marathons. So collectively, the tourism community, the government, the private sector come together to really put together quite a fantastic combination of events and infrastructure to allow tourism to really blossom at this time.
But how resilient would you say is Vietnam's hospitality sector in today's volatile global environment, and where are the biggest risks?
I think Vietnam's tourism market is incredibly resilient because it has a very good balance. It's underpinned by 50% of the market driven by domestic travel. There's a population in Vietnam of 100 million people. And through the evolution of low cost carriers, we're seeing the upper middle class now traveling throughout Vietnam nonstop. So I think we're not totally reliant on inbound travel, but at the same time, we're viewed as a very safe destination. This year, we're expected to reach about 25 million international arrivals, and I believe we're on track to hit that. So I think what makes it resilient is the combination of a very robust domestic market and a rapidly growing inbound market. I think where we look at the risk of the market, I would say we probably have a bit too much concentration risk on China and Korea, which I believe make up over 50% of the inbound market. I think everyone is going to be cautious about travel and the cost of travel. It's the kind of guests that we're currently attracting to Vietnam is price sensitive. And so as we see rising fuel prices, flights getting cut off, et cetera, I think that is a risk to the growth that we're experiencing. And then I think overall, at the rate that we're growing, infrastructure needs to keep up with it. We're already seeing some bottlenecks in certain airports, international airports, domestic airports. So I think in order to keep the growth going, infrastructure needs to be a priority. And I think the Vietnamese government understands that, and there's a massive push now to increase our air capacity, expanding airports, and making sure that the network within the country, roads, bridges, et cetera, are also upgraded to make sure that we can handle the influx of visitors.
So, if you were to make a suggestion, Michael, what needs to happen for Vietnam to become a truly mature world class hospitality market?
Well, I think there's a number of things. One is if you look at Vietnam today, I think about 75, 80% of the hotel supply is still unbranded or independent or family owned or mom and pop shop. So I think what needs to happen is we need more global brands, higher standard, more quality product, and the infrastructure that comes with that, the training, the hospitality skills, increasing the service levels, etc. And I think we're seeing that happen, and not just happen by newly signed management contracts with international brands, but we're also seeing now more conversion. So independent brands, even Wink is no exception. We recently joined Hyatt's network. We joined Unscripted by Hyatt. So I think what we're seeing now is the market understanding that distribution is increasingly important and what international operators can bring in terms of quality assurance for guests and making more long-haul guests, higher spending guests, attracting them to the country, which is where we want to go. I think we don't want to become a mass market tourism destination. We want to become a high value tourism destination, and that'll be a real key as we move forward.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Michael.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Once again, that was Michael Piro, Co-Chief Executive Officer of Indochina Capital Corporation. For more news, visit traveldailymedia.com.